Like twinned arcs of superheated plasma lightning shearing apart the very fabric of reality, we are the unmovable object of truth, right in the path of the unrelenting force of the upper hive. 665.66 UHMR Chemrat Radio. You know, with how many people actually get choked during all of it, I'm beginning to wonder whether or not it's the fog that's doing the choking, or if there's something that's just lurking right there out of sight. Either way, make sure to take your level 3 hazardous environment masks with you when you leave the hab today. Who knows? Could be the Corridor 54 killer lurking in this pea soup ready to gank anyone not wary enough. We're safe, though, waiting it out here at the hangnail on sublevel 999, where the shots are expensive, but at least there aren't any shots flying through the air. As always, I am your neon-splattered, crested, plasma axe-wielding psycho Goblin King. Today, I am joined by my co-host, the maniacal maniac of malls, Marky.
What it is, host. I got a case of the Sunplung, and to include Beast as well.
Our auto gun aficionado, who also has a penchant for rocket launchers, Beast.
Hello, everyone.
And back from special assignment, somewhere in Special Land, Kev. Tell us, Kev, how was Special Land?
It was so unspecial. They should not call it Special Land. I'm just saying.
I mean, if you're going to go to the Amityville Hive, to their new amusement park, Special Land, you kind of have an expectation, right?
It's captivating.
Special. You know, you'd expect it to be special, but it was so mundane that it was, I don't know, it was they should have called it Tuesday.
That's what made it special.
Tuesday Land. Yeah, but if it was Tuesday Land, you'd
not
have to
even
bring a
land,
coat.
just Tuesday.
Oh, just Tuesday.
It's a special.
It doesn't even get land, just Tuesday.
That's what makes it special, though. The fact that it's such a mundane place that you think it's special and it's not special. That's what makes it special.
I don't want to pay for misdirection. And
that's what's special about it.
Nonsense.
You just got to stay here in Innsmouth Hive. It's much better. Our recycled air is so much more.
We're more special.
Recycled. 25% more recycled air only in Innsmouth Hive.
Air in a can. Can't get it anywhere else.
Perry Air. Welcome to episode 57 of Under the Hive of Madness. Today we are starting a series that will not run concurrently, but we will have multiple parts to it. We're specifically looking at expanding playable minor factions in Warhammer 40k or expanding Xenos factions that we think should have some presence on the tabletop. So this is part 1, or part I. We're going to label these with Roman numerals. And instead of doing like our normal faction series where we'll do part 1, part 2, part 3 with maybe a break in between, this is going to be a little bit more like we're doing part 1 today. Maybe in a month or two, we'll do a part 2. A couple months later, we'll do a part 3, just as we kind of pull apart the Warhammer 40k universe and look at different things.
Yeah, fit them in.
So we kind of wanted to lay out a bit of a roadmap or a bit of an expectation for everybody. And we're going to start by running down a list of factions that already have some models in play. We'll talk a little bit about their lore, and then we'll dip into the models that they have currently available, and then we'll kind of talk a little bit about how we could see them expand. And we're going to go through quite a few today, and this is more meant as sort of an overview. But if we get super into it, which could happen because this is a round table, you guys might get 2 or 3 today really fleshed out, and then we'll bring you more later. But we do have a list. And if there's anything that you guys, our listeners, hear or think of when you're hearing us talk or something that we may have missed out on, go ahead and hit us up immediately. For those of you interested in a little bit of a visual experience and you want to hear me stumble over words or the fact that my mouth is super fucking dry every once in a while and my tongue sticks to the top of the roof of my mouth, you can experience that by joining us on Patreon for $3 a month. So pictures and bloopers.
Really needed that visual. Thank you,
Ryan. My tongue sticking to the roof of my mouth. It happens, dude. So we're going to start off with my favorite, the Kroot.
Before you do, though, Ryan, I would like to share something that a very close friend of mine told me. and that is he only likes his Xenos in 2 ways, and that's barbecued or hung. So just wanted to lay that groundwork out for everybody as we move forward.
So originally, that's kind of interesting because originally we had kind of structured this as minor Xenos factions that we would like to see expanded. But as Kevin and I tossed a couple of ideas around last week, I kind of realized that there are a lot of just playable minor factions. For instance, Rogue Traders and the Inquisition both made our list because they don't have a big representation on tabletop. So for your friend who likes to poke fun at Xenos, he's going to get...
This is Tom, by the way. Hello, everyone. Just want to let you know. This is Tom the Beast speaking right now.
Even though I never refer to myself as that.
You always start off in the third... Tom always speaks in Tom's third person.
This is Tom talking, and I don't say that.
I know.
So... kick it off with the Kroot. Kev, you want to read the quote, maybe?
Yeah. Alrighty. So, these other 2 gentlemen missed out on my new voice that I debuted last weekend.
We decided that Yarrick was a Southern gentleman.
Oh.
Yeah. It was pretty
We
great.
decided that the Yarrick quote would be read in the Southern gentleman voice. And it was a great hit. Ryan lost it.
I did. It was fucking great. So this is a Watercast member. So
so it's supposed to be Trade Federation. Got it.
Let's not do that.
It's just Trade Federation. There's not.
Yeah, it's Trade
an
Federation.
alien species.
Actually, Tom,
not.
what would the Watercast are the engineers, right? Aircast are
No,
the pilots.
Watercast are like diplomats and artists.
Aha. There you go. You got to be flowy and frilly, apparently.
Yeah.
He's gonna talk like a fucking Trade Federation.
I really would rather just Trade Federation it because that's what it should be.
You guys don't think that's over the line? Go for it.
I mean, it might be. I don't know.
I don't care.
Let's do it and see how we feel.
Okay.
I guess Ryan's gonna have to edit this in post.
Oh yeah. When we talk about what quotes are getting read by who, I usually remove it. But
they are fierce indeed, these Kroot, and savage. I look upon them and tremble at their ferocity. I can only hope that when the enemy sees them, they tremble as I do.
So that's Por Vera Tau Chow, Watercast envoy to Silakel prior to the ambush of the 17th Brimlock Dragoons. And I am assuming the 17th Brimlock Dragoons are the Imperial regiment that we know of.
Yes.
That's really,
I was like,
really good,
that's
Kevin.
really weird that the Tau named themselves after them. And I'm like, no, that's gotta be the guard.
It's really good, Kevin.
Yeah, sounded like every shitty Warhammer game.
Yeah.
Fair.
I've played so many Warhammer games that I've mastered their version of the Trade Federation accent and managed to keep out any of the super offensive, racist undertones that people may or may not project onto.
Is that how they voiced them in Fire Warrior?
Yeah.
Oh.
Kroot, or Krootis aviana, designated by the Imperium as the Kroot carnivores, are a Xenos species who are members of the Tau Empire. Kroot evolved from an avian creature known as the Kroot hawk on the world of Peck. They are tall, about a half-meter taller than the average human, with bird-like beaks and long quills which protrude from their heads like hair. Other smaller quills, possibly the evolutionary remnants of feathers, can be found scattered over their bodies. Kroot are capable of selective genetic evolution by eating those they defeat. Because of this, Kroot warbands can look vastly different. They are led by Shapers, which are Kroot with the best ability for recognizing desirable DNA traits in those that they defeat, shaping how the kindred evolve to suit the task at hand. So kindred is the word that Kroot use for themselves. Kroot that might need to grow stronger might focus on fighting a bunch of orcs using the greenskin DNA to enhance their muscle mass, while Kroot needing to attack from the air might target large avian predators in order to grow wings, or any sort of flying predator, really. This practice has also informed their religious beliefs. They believe that when a warrior of any race dies, their spirit can be kept by consuming their flesh. Kroot practice this in their burial customs. They also take on some of the traits or characteristics, characteristic traits, social characteristics. That was the word I was looking for. They also take on some of the social characteristics of their prey if they are preying a lot on a specific species. They'll inherit cultural aspects of the orcs, for instance. They'll want to fight a lot, or possibly humans. They'll become a little bit more inventive and a little bit more driven towards thinking their way out of a problem, or they might be preying a lot on the Drukhari, in which case they're going to become a lot more cunning and a hell of a lot more cruel. Sometimes these practices can lead to evolutionary dead ends, and in some cases, this can lead to the kindred who can't evolve anymore due to becoming more animalistic or unintelligent. So in this case, it's usually not when they're targeting a sentient species. This would be like when they're, say they wanted to grow really long teeth, and they started attacking saber-toothed cats constantly. Eventually, they just become big, dumb saber-toothed cats. And because they no longer have that ability to choose DNA as they eat, it becomes an evolutionary dead end. That race can't become smarter again because they can't remember how to become smarter again. With other species like the Tyranids, who can also absorb DNA from their prey, it can actually be hazardous to the Kroot. Recombining too many genetic traits can lead to even worse issues. So one of the things that we actually know outside of the Warhammer 40k universe is that cannibalism can lead to prion disease. And prion disease is basically when your proteins fold in upon themselves, and it can cause all sorts of neurological defects and theoretically can lead to zombie-like aggression and zombie-like states. It's not undead. It's just that rage and that like need to bite things. Mad cow disease was a prion infection. Rabies is kind of a prion-ish. It's not, rabies isn't really one, but a lot of prion diseases can look a lot like rabies. So, if the Kroot went ahead and ate the Tyranids, then you're putting a bunch of DNA splicing on top of DNA splicing, and you get zombie Kroot, I guess, is what they're insinuating. So Peck includes many species of animal that are partially Kroot. This is the result of the kindred's evolutionary missteps. These are often used as laborers, pack animals, or weapons. Common examples are the canine Kroot hounds, the lumbering and powerful ape-like Krootoks, the raptor-like Narlock riding beasts, and the massive T-Rex-like great Narlocks. The Kroot hawk is held as sacred to the Kroot, being their evolutionary ancestors. There are also one-offs and even bad dead ends that the Kroot will hunt down and exterminate. So sometimes something real bad happens and they just decide that abomination needs to be hunted down and killed. Although the Kroot are supposed to have an exclusive contract with the Tau, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and work with them, they kind of just work with them the most. They will basically work for the highest bidder, and that isn't necessarily monetary. Sometimes that's also just the client that offers them the best ability to access new genetic material. Kroot often send out their war spheres far and wide across the galaxy to meet their own goals and designs aside from the Tau Empire. So the models that exist in their range currently are the Kroot Carnivore Kit, which we're all very familiar with. Then there is the Kroot Shaper. I think this is the new Shaper, but the old model is just a guy holding a las gun above his head. It's a pretty cool looking model. Then there's the Krootox Rider.
The one with the bird is dope.
Yeah, I think that's the new Shaper. The Kroot with the super long rifle and the bird, I'm pretty sure, is the new Shaper. Then there are the Kroot Hounds, which are dogs. Then there's obviously the Kroot Farstalkers from Kill Team. There is the Kroot Sniper hero from Blackstone Fortress. And then Forge World used to have Kroot Riders, Narlox, and Great Narlox.
I want a great Narlock so bad.
Yeah, they're dope looking.
How big are they? Like squig-off size or?
Yes. Well, there's a couple of there are pack ones, there are heavy weapon ones, and then there are like ones that are just monsters that rampage. And the ones that are monsters that rampage are the size of the squigoths.
Jesus.
They're big. They're cool. I personally would love to see the Kroot expanded, but I think we could probably fill an entire episode talking about expanding the Kroot list. Do you guys want to keep going, or?
I mean, Kroot are great. I think they are one of the races that does have a sufficient reasoning to be kind of its own sub-faction, or a race, an allyable Xenos race or something, or
They're
have a
probably
kill
the
team
most,
that can
like-
be included in other armies.
They have like the most semi-flushed out already.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, put it this way: there is more Kroot units than there are Votann units.
Yeah. Well,
in a way.
in a way.
I was going to say it would have been easier just to create a new Kroot army, like auxiliary army or actual army, versus Votann.
Yeah, but they wanted to bring squats back.
I think the Kroot carnivore kit would definitely need to stay around. I think that we would need some sort of elite unit. I would think either Kroot. I would think snipers, like a Kroot sniper unit or a Kroot sapper unit, or maybe the Farstalkers that all kind of have specialized weapons would be really cool. I would argue that there should probably be, as there is in a lot of the other armies, a Kroot carnivore kit that is more heavily armored. So you'd have your standard troops, and then you'd have your heavily armored standard troops.
Okay, so that'd be cool.
Fast attack, bring back the riders. They were Forge Worlds, but bring them back as a plastic kit. Dogs would also be fast attack. Just they need to be a plastic kit, not fine cast. I think heavy support right off the bat would be the Great Narlox, the weapon Narlox, and the Great Narlox. The weaponized Narlox would be, maybe they have big rail rifles or whatever looted technology the Kroot have, or whatever technology the Kroot have as like turrets on their backs, and then the Great Narlock could be a rampaging unit. I'm working on my own Kroot army that's very, very based on using Imperial technology, because they've been working in Imperial space for years.
That's cool.
But yeah, I think you're right. I think the Kroot already have a lot. There's a Shaper, which is a special character, which would be an HQ. And there's actually been a couple of named Kroot heroes in the past. They would just have to dig them back out and reprint them. There were winged Kroot at one point too, weren't there, Tom?
Yeah, the old Shapers were actually winged.
Yeah, so that could be fast attack or elites, depending on how you did it.
They were seen as like Kroot elders.
Yeah, it'd be cool. It'd even be cool to see like there's scarabs and there's razor wings and there's stuff like that. Maybe Kroot hawk swarms. All right, so next up are the Vespid.
This is one of Tom's favorites.
I do love the Vespid.
Scout Sergeant Morphidius of the Brazen Claw. So this is a space marine.
I can't do it. You're on your own, Ryan.
I'm on my own. Okay, I'll just fuck. Do I try to British it? Because you do a really good British it.
Don't just read it.
Watch the flanks for these Xenos, my brother, for death is heralded by the sounds of their wings. So that's Scout Sergeant Morphidius of the Brazen Claws.
It wasn't bad.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
So I just tried to do the voice that the guy does in the video game.
I was gonna say that was pretty close to Titus.
Mm-hmm.
Like the mannerisms, not so much the pitch or the sound, but the mannerisms are really, really good.
It's trying to get like a cadence and ending the words differently, like without trying to like sound. The only good British
accent
that I can usually do is Cockney. So the Vespid are a unique race of insectoid aliens who are members of the Tau Empire. We actually covered them. Tom covered them for us on a past episode. They are called the Malkor and Tau. This is a combination of the Tau words for insect, which is Mal, and air, which is core. So Malkor. The soldiers of the Imperium of Man refer to them as stingwings. The Vespid homeworld is a gas giant called Vespid, 3 light years to the galactic south of the Tau Dianoi Sept. Yeah, I'm going with that.
How you spell it?
D''Yanoi.
Diani.
What's up?
Diani.
Diani. Okay, Diani Sept. So the existing models for the Vespid are the Vespid Stingwings.
Yep, that's it.
That's
all
it.
there is.
I thought there was a Vespid hero. I remember there being a Vespid hero, but it's just this dude with the big ass mask.
Yeah,
it's
the
their
helm.
Yeah.
They hold on to the helm.
The pheromone mask.
Yeah, basically.
I think we did like a quarter of an episode on the Vespid at one point when we were getting ready to write our own alien. But as a quick refresher, they use like crystalline weapons, which are really cool. They live on floating islands. I definitely would love to see the Vespid more fleshed out. I honestly don't know how I would go about it. They kind of seem like a fast attack option because they've got wings. So maybe
they got wings. I think they would be a fantastic. I think you'd need some new models for other units, but you could so easily make any type of bug race out of them. You know, like more so than Tyranids, because Tyranids, they're more like lizards than bugs, you know?
Yeah, they're like reptilian. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
If you wanted to make like a full-blown like insect race, like especially with like spiders or something, like the Vespid would be the way to do it. Like these would be the soldiers, you know, and then you would have like the like heavy artillery bugs, you know, which are like beetles, you know. Starship Trooper status, like, you know, I think you could take with this approach.
Yeah, like big triangular shaped bodies with four or six legs could be.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see that.
The females, which are like bigger than these guys, you know,
could be your HQ units.
Yep. It'd be so sick.
You just do an armored. You could do an armored version of this, which could either be your more elite troop choice, or an elite choice.
Yeah, you're like Queen Guard.
Yeah.
You know, using these as a template to make an insectoid race, I think would be really cool.
Yeah, it would be dope. It'd be cool to see. Vespid is definitely a race that I would love to see expanded. All right, so next up is the Inquisition. I think you can do this one in your. I don't know what I would call it, but you have an Inquisition-y voice, Kevin.
You're Russian.
Not the Russian one. He does one that's like very like looks like I'm looking down my nose at you.
My nose is a mile long, and you're a mile beneath the end of
yes,
it.
yes, that voice.
That voice. Yeah. Yes.
Activist.
Oh wait, no, this is another Space Marine. Fuck.
Whatever, dude, is the Inquisition.
It's a Blood Raven, so you know.
Same.
This is Gabriel Angelos. This is a named Blood Raven.
Oh, this is the chapter master.
Which means no matter what we do, people are going to be mad. So
it'll be a Space Marine and a guy that's looking down on everybody.
It's not going to be a guy looking down on everybody if it's a Space Marine. I can't.
Gabriel Angelos.
It's a dude who does quadruple backflips in power armor.
I'm definitely editing this out, but the Inquisition merely performs. No, I take it back. I'm leaving that in.
Everybody's like, that's not Gabriel Angelos,
right? How many people can I piss off?
It's like, calm down. Blood Ravens aren't even real.
Yeah. Calm down. Blood Ravens suck.
I think they're a cool chapter, but it's whack that they're not canon. They're only semi-canon.
I mean, they might as well be canon. They are canon, I want to say.
They've got quotes in books, so it's hard to say.
Okay, at this point, then they're canon, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyways. The Inquisition merely performs the duty of its office. To further fear them is redundant. To hate them, heretical. Those more sensible will place responsibility with those who forced their hands.
So that was Captain Gabriel Angelos.
It wasn't
of
Gabriel
the blood.
Angelos.
What's up?
That doesn't sound like Gabriel Angelos.
That doesn't sound like Gabriel Angelos.
That was Captain Gabrielle Angles.
Gabe Angles.
Now we've offended nobody. That was Captain Gabriel Angelos of the Blood Ravens chapter after
Gabe
the
Angles.
exterminus of Typhon Primaris.
Chapter Master Gabby.
Gabe Angles.
Good old Gabs. Gabs and I were talking last weekend.
Oh, typical Gab.
He show you how you can do his backflip?
Yeah. So I started listening to the Reverie, which is the first 40k horror novel that I've listened to, and it's all about the it's a successor chapter. It's a successor chapter of the Blood Angels. They're called like the Ark Revenant or the Ark. Yeah, there's something like that. And like the more I'm listening to them, the more I'm like, oh man, I kind of want to make Fallen Blood Angels. This sounds awesome.
Oh yeah,
I got to stop listening to books, man.
Definitely
Not
see
helping.
that.
yeah. You're supposed to read a
evil
fucking book.
vampires.
It's true. It's true. Right? Exactly. They are. They're like barely not hedonistic. Like
It'd be like a chapter of Death Company, essentially.
yeah. So the Inquisition is a secret organization that exists outside of the standard administrative hierarchy of the Imperium of Man. So when you look at the top level organization of the Imperium of Man, there is a group called the High Lords of Terra who interpret the will of the Emperor on the Golden Throne. And right next to them, but removed, is the Inquisition. So they act as the secret police force of the Imperium, hunting down all of the threats to the stability of the God Emperor's realms. From the corruption caused by the forces of chaos, heretics, mutants, and rebels, to the assault from vicious alien species like the Tyranids, the Orcs, and the Drakari. The Inquisitorial... the Inquisitorial... The Inquisitorial Rosette is derived from the personal heraldry of Malkador the Sigillite, the regent of Terra during the Great Crusade and the Horus Heresy, and the second most powerful psyker in the Imperium of Man after the Emperor of Mankind himself. Malkador founded the secret organization that would later become the Ordos of the Inquisition at the start of the heresy on the orders of the Emperor himself. The Master of Mankind had ordered the Sigillite to found a group of men and women of an inquisitive nature to search out the enemies of the Imperium, whether they lay within or whether or not they threatened from without.
All right, wait, hold up. We're not just going to breeze by that shit like it didn't happen. So you said Malkador was essentially second to the Emperor as far as his psychic power.
Yes. And second to the Emperor as far as control.
The fuck? Wait, all right. I know you just talked about who this man was, but who the fuck is this guy again?
So Malkador the Sigillite is the regent of Terra. So when the Emperor leaves on the Great Crusade and he leaves the Imperium of Man, the fledgling Imperium in Man, in the hands of somebody else, he leaves it in the hands of Malkador the Sigillite. Malkador, if you want to look at it, this is a really, really, really bad way to look at it because this is not how the story is written at all. But if you want to look at the Emperor as being Luke Skywalker, Malkador is Obi-Wan Kenobi. He is like the guy who kind of, in that hero's tale structure that's really, really common in epic fantasy and in epic sci-fi, Malkador the Sigillite is the wanderer in the desert. He's the
Samwise, the Samwise Gamgee.
He's the
to the Emperor's Frodo.
The Samwise.
No, he'd be more like Gandalf to the Emperor's Frodo. He's the wise. He's the wizened figure that kind of like helps the hero find his way.
It'd be like Gandalf the Grey to his Gandalf the White, or like his Gandalf to his Sauron, some shit like that.
Yeah, it falls apart because the Emperor is such a like massively powerful figure. But Malkador is an old wizened perpetual. And
he's
Emperor,
a perpetual.
Yes. Well, we believe we don't know, not confirmed,
but he's still alive. It's I guess the argument, right?
Actually, not confirmed that he's still alive. It's just not confirmed that he died. Just no one knows.
But he's old as shit. He's like an old man.
He's old as shit in 30K.
Oh fuck.
But he's very much like the Emperor's like major confidant and like
in
kind
30K,
of the person that helps him.
in 40k, we don't know of his whereabouts. Is what you're saying?
No.
Oh,
Nobody knows where he is.
gotcha.
I think he disappeared in like M32 or 33.
Gotcha. Okay, that's
People
why I
think the
haven't
King
heard.
in Yellow is Malkador.
That's one of the King in Yellow could be Malkador. That's another
Gotcha.
person.
That's why I've heard the name, but I didn't really know too much about him. And when you said that he was second to the Emperor as far as like psychic power, I was like, hold up.
He's the second most powerful psyker in the Imperium of Man. Like
right.
Malkador is the second highest rated psyker.
The bar is set pretty high, obviously, for the Emperor. So, I mean, obviously, his bar could be pretty damn low comparatively, but he is second to the Emperor is in humankind.
Yeah. Well, in comparison to, he's probably on the level. Actually, he's more powerful than, because there's some instance where crossover happens. He's more powerful than a Farseer.
Really?
So yeah, he's super ancient, super powerful psyker.
That's crazy. Okay.
We'll get in when we get into the Unification Wars and all that stuff. When we get into the end of the Age of Strife and all of that here soonish. TM. We will talk about. War. We'll talk about the. There's a bunch of perpetuals. Actually, there's a bunch of like really powerful humans, immortal humans essentially. And Malkador is kind of. It's never outright said that he is one, but there's too much shit that he's involved with for him not being one doesn't make sense.
Yeah, especially being that powerful. Why would you not be something along those lines, right?
But
if not
Malkador,
living longer than being a perpetual.
But Malkador put into on the Emperor's orders. Malkador put into process the things that created the Inquisition, and on Malkador's own reasoning, the Grey Knights were founded. So when the Eisenstein, what was the ship? Was it the Eisenstein?
Yeah, Flight of the Eisenstein was the name of the book.
When Captain Garo of the Death Guard took the Eisenstein with a bunch of survivors of the Istvan drop site massacre back, a bunch of traitors, a bunch of legionnaires from the traitor legions who were not traitors back to Terra, they became Grey Shields, and those Grey Shields are the foundation, that they're like the first step on the evolution to the Grey Knights. And that was another Malkador the Sigillite project. So there's a lot of stuff that Malkador did that very much affects the way that 40k works. So
interesting. Okay.
So
does it ever mention how he looks? I'm assuming it does.
He's an old, bald, wizened man. He looks incredibly frail and incredibly old. But Dorn is scared of him in conversations. Malkador gets pissed at Dorn at one point, and Dorn sits down.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Yeah. So it's not ever really clear whether or not he chooses. In my opinion, Malkador chooses to appear old. He doesn't need to.
Reminds me of you ever seen Fairly Odd Parents, where it's like that kid, and he has he gets his glasses and he's like, I can see, I can fight. But he's just this frail little kid. Before that, and he gets all buff and shit. When he puts the glasses on. Yeah, I might be misremembering it. I mean, I don't know. I'm in a brain fog right now, but that's what I imagine with this old man.
That sounds pretty funny though. I can see, I can fight.
So the Inquisition.
That's a very Warhammer thing to say.
Yes. The Inquisition is divided into 3 Ordos Majoris and countless minor Ordos Minorises. Each is dedicated to confronting a very specific threat to the continued survival of the Imperium and humanity. The Ordos Malleus and their chamber militant, the Space Marines of the Grey Knights, seek to confront and defeat the forces of chaos and other threats from beyond Imperial space. And in this case, they mean the warp. The Ordos Xenos and its chamber militant, the Astartes of the Death Watch, defend the Imperium from the myriad alien threats that lie outside of the Imperium's borders. Those are Marky's boys. And the Ordo Hereticus and its chamber militant, the Adeptus Sororitas, seek to combat all of the very human threats to the Imperium that lie within the organization or on the worlds of the Imperium itself. So currently for models, we have the newest Inquisitor that is stabbing a book, who I don't know the name of.
I love that guy. I think he's unnamed.
Is he? He's just Inquisitor.
I
Then we have Eisenhorn.
Inquisitor, fuck that book.
Inquisitor Eisenhorn, Inquisitor Greyfax,
Inquisitor read a fucking book.
Karmazov, Inquisitor Cortez, Inquisitor with Inferno Pistol and Power Sword. We have the Crusaders, which are actually some of my favorite looking models. I really want to do something with Crusaders at some point.
Yeah.
And we have Kyria Draxus and the Jakero Weaponsmith.
The little orangutan.
Yep, a little orangutan. And the Jakero made this list too.
Oh, nice.
As far as Inquisition goes, I think 100% right now, the Crusaders need to be a 5-man kit.
Oh,
they
yeah,
need to be
easily.
Immediately place them into the elite slot. It's already done for you. And this is a really easy one again, right off the bat. And yeah, make them a little better. Right off the bat, the second thing that you do is you take the Scions, the Tempestus Scions, and you create a different armor pattern, a slightly different armor pattern, and you make them their standard troop choice, because the Inquisition does have their own type of highly trained Imperial Guard. They also pull from the Kasserkins, so you've got really, really easy troops all done. And then I think I think the only thing that you avoid with the Inquisition, in my opinion, is you avoid any large vehicles. I think everything needs to be movable
Rhino for your
strike
transport,
forces,
and then like a Valkyrie.
I would think I would think your transport would be your Valkyrie. I would
That'd be
think
good.
honestly your transports would be Black Stars and Valkyries, and that would be it for you're not going to have tanks. You're not going to have, and I'll get to why later.
Well, they have rhinos, but you're right. They wouldn't be planning on sticking around long enough to drop off armored vehicles, support them with mechanic, and everything.
Right.
No, that makes the
But
most sense. Black Stars and Rhinos, because there are Inquisitors like with power armor that would, I'm assuming, interface with the Rhinos or the Black Stars.
Well, and there's Space Marines that have dedicated their life to being part of an Inquisitor's warband for one reason or another.
Yeah.
So, you could also have elites that are Space Marines, or heavy support that are Space Marines.
Oh my God, they actually sell the Jakero Weaponsmith?
Yeah, it's a model you can buy.
Holy crap. Well, no, I knew they did that, but I didn't know they actually sold it on the site.
Yeah.
I thought it was like one of those Lost Forever models.
Nope. All right, so next up we have Beastmen, and this would be our first abhuman on the list. So I am pretty sure that this is a Beastman talking about himself. You want me to do it, Kev?
Yeah, you beast better than I do.
Beastman, bad Beastman, dirty Emperor, no like. Beastmen love Emperor, give blood to Emperor, give heads to Emperor. Say sorry.
Give head to Emperor.
I was going to say, wait.
What?
Wait.
What the fuck?
Heads.
I'm sorry?
What the fuck are we watching?
Now we know why Marky plays Khorn. He wants to get head from the
Everyone. So
Everyone.
So that was Packmaster Grasht, attached to the 7th Company, 14th Grenadier Regiment, Imperialis Auxilia during the Great Crusade.
I don't know what voice that reminded me of, but it reminded me of something. I just can't put my finger on it.
I tried to do
Gollum.
I tried to play with a little bit of Gollum and a little bit of like twitchy, been shot many times.
It was like an Igor Gollum / Planet of the Apes.
But yeah, as I got closer and closer to the end, I had to get more angry.
Amadeus.
So the Beastmen, or Homo sapiens veritas, are abhumans descended from human stock who combined the physical appearances of humans and Terran animals, usually goats or rams. They don't necessarily all look alike, and different animal traits can manifest themselves in each individual. However, apart from these variations, they are genetically stable human subspecies and are considered to be a form of abhuman rather than a mutant. So that's the distinction that the Imperium puts on mutant and abhuman. I know we've had this conversation in the past. If the species can self-sustain and it keeps making things that look like that, they're not mutants. They're an abhuman. Their origins are unknown, though it is likely that they are the result of experiments in genetic engineering during the Dark Age of technology, who have since been able to breed normally. Other Imperial savants claim that beastmen are abhumans whose unusual forms were the result of exposure to the influence of the warp, but somehow the subspecies managed to maintain an unusual degree of genetic stability across their generations. Models that exist: the Beastmen in the Black Stone Fortress kit, and Gore Halfhorn, who is a Forge World model from Necromunda.
Gore Halfhorn.
Yep.
It's a Necromunda model, you said?
He's pretty cool, too. He's a bounty hunter.
Huh. Dude, the one thing I can say about Necromunda is I fucking love the models. Like
The models are so good.
The atmosphere of Necromunda is so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Very, very like everything that I like about Wasteland is like what, Necromunda has, plus like cyberpunk on top of that, which I love cyberpunk.
It really upsets me how cool Necromunda is.
Right? Dude.
A lot of the Blackstone Fortress sculpts are really, really awesome too. The Beastmen from Blackstone are really cool looking.
Which ones do you have up right here?
These are the ones from Blackstone Fortress.
Okay. Look very much like I don't know why I keep getting a Han Solo vibe from them.
I don't know. I look at that and I think of motorcycle mice from Mars.
Yeah, you're right. Very much so, dude.
Yeah, and then Gore Halfhorn is a bounty hunter of who works on Necromunda.
Does he have a hand cannon? What is that?
Nah, it's just a big ass gun. His hand does not end in a cannon. He is holding a gun.
Okay.
It is a hand.
It is a hand cannon. Yes, it is in fact
Mega Man.
Dude,
he's actually one of my favorite like side characters. I've always loved Gore.
Gore Halfhorn, right? That was his name.
Yeah, because one of his horns got sliced off in some fight.
I get it.
It's like the dude from what's the dragon? The dragon books, the sword and sorcery dragon books. No.
Lord of the Rings.
No, the one that HBO made into a show with the dragons and fuck. Why can I not?
Aragon.
Game of Thrones. Yeah, in Game of Thrones, there's some dude named Half Hand because he got half of his hand cut off.
Yeah,
there's this one guy called No Balls.
Because he's just got no ball. There's always a dude in a gang called One Nut because he only got one nut left.
Yeah, half sack.
Yeah, half sack. that dude's in what is it? Is it Sons of Anarchy that there's a character named Half Sack? Okay.
Yeah, he's in the first season.
I feel like there's a dude named Half Sack in something. Beastmen, I think, would be really, really cool. One, would be really cool to see expanded into a full army, and two, pretty easy again. We've got the Blackstone Fortress models already. Those are your rank and file troops. We've got heroes like Halfhorn for HQ. And then after that, they're honestly going to be using Imperial Guard stuff, probably. Maybe a little buffer than normal Imperial Guard.
But they're essentially guardsmen. Yeah, guards are gene stealers. Either one.
Yeah, and up in historically in the 40k universe, I can't remember. I think it was just after the Age of Apostasy. So like M35-ish is when Beastmen stopped being used by the Imperium. And a lot of the reason goes back to a lot of them fought on Horus's. They were very, very mistreated. So when the heresy happened, a lot of them went to Horus's side because they were like, we're mistreated. But they were still being better treatment. They were still being used as specialized troops by the Imperium itself up until like M35. Now the Imperium has a very much like, we don't talk about that anymore. But Beastmen are out there. They're a relatively widespread phenomenon. They live on lots of They live on planets in large enough numbers that planets have been exterminated by the Inquisition to keep beastmen from spreading. So
can you imagine that? Like you're like, we're being mistreated. We're gonna go to that other side, and then that other
like,
side loses. And well, not only is it worse, but the other side loses. So now not only are you not being treated well, now you're like, well, you wanted to go over the, like they doubled down and got fucked.
The other probably an important thing to state right now. The two things that we are not expanding on are Space Marine chapters, because you can make your own Space Marine. Three things we're not expanding on. Because you can make your own Space Marine chapters, this would just be us literally listing things to infinity. It could be like, oh yeah, the keyboard on analysis, the major dice mechanicuses, the hand lotion thing, the glass pints
of masturbation.
We just keep going with Space Marines. So we're not going to do Space Marine chapters. We're not going to do Imperial Guard regiments because, again,
the motorboat.
These are minor factions.
You can literally just make it. Yeah, one, it's a major faction, but a lot of people, like, in their head, they go, oh, well, my Imperial Guard are only from one planet, so it's a minor faction. You're correct, but you're allowed to make that with the book. The other thing that we're not going to dip into is Beastmen have models in both the Tzeentch and the Slaanesh line, because during the Heresy, a lot of Beastmen sided and fell. So Trazagors are also officially, I guess, Beastman models, and then Fiends of Slaanesh are officially Beastman models.
Zangors?
I didn't list them, though, because they belong to other factions.
Talking about Zangors? Am I saying?
Yeah,
Am I thinking the same thing?
Tazangor. Yeah, I guess Zangors. It's Tzann. Gore.
Yeah,
You say
I think I've always heard everybody call them
Sang.
I think I've
Well,
always
right,
heard,
but Tzeentch. So I did.
Yeah, like
I guess so. Yeah, that makes sense.
I've always heard people refer
Zangor.
to them as Zangors. I just didn't know how it was spelled. But now I know it's all fucked up.
Tzangors. Tzangors. Okay. But yeah, Zangors makes more sense.
Saint Zangor around my neck.
Yeah,
Yep. The
even
Zangor
the
that I gotta carry around.
not that it's 40k ish, but in Blood Bowl they have Beastmen on the Khorn and Nurgle team as what do they call them? They call them Khornegors or Pestigors.
In Age of Sigmar and in the world that was, Beastmen were their own faction, and in Age of Sigmar, Beastmen are their own faction. But most of the Age of Sigmar Chaos gods have their version of gore, and it's something gore
Of like
each
Beastmen.
time. Yeah, it's always something gore. So Beastmen are Ungors or Uragors, and Ungors are the lesser one, and Uragors are like the veterans.
It's like a Latin root word kind of thing. And
Essentially,
they add something onto it.
and they in Age of Sigmar they have their own realm. They have one of the 9 realms is the realm of the Beastmen.
Oh.
It's kind of cool. It's actually
Furryland.
I'm pretty sure it's where the Sons of Bahamut live too, which are the Goliath things.
Furryland.
Furryland. All right, so next up, this is another Tom favorite, are the Men of Iron. In the cryptic account of the history of mankind given by Cyprius, one of the keepers of the Library Sanctus of Terra, Men of Iron or Iron Men were legendary artificial intelligent humanoid thinking machines created by humans during the age of technology. I 100% want to see more things by Cyprius. I'm like, this is 40k's Herodotus, isn't it? This is the dude who's just like, nobody remembers. I'm making shit up.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the stuff that we know, Marky, about the ancient world, the pre-Iron Age, comes from the writings of a Greek historian named Herodotus. But a lot of times Herodotus was just like, oh yeah, no, the Trojans totally won that war by making a big horse, or not the Trojans, the Greeks, they totally won that war by making a big horse and gifting it to the Trojans.
Yep.
And people are like, I was there, I saw it. And then like you find out, no, Herodotus wasn't there, and that's probably not what happened. But Herodotus was just like, nobody knows. Nobody knows what happened. I'm going to make something up.
For the stories.
For this, yep. So
For the likes.
Nobody would have
Right.
Nobody's ever gonna know. He
But
just
people-
They're gonna know.
We are now finding out that Herodotus made stuff up.
he's a fucking liar, Billy.
Like
or Timmy.
five-
What is it? Jeff's a
five-
fucking liar.
Yeah, 4,000 or 5,000 years after he wrote it, we're like, wait a minute, it's something sus here.
Herodotus is a fucking liar, Jimmy.
So they were loyal to. So men of iron were loyal to and served mankind until shortly before the start of the Age of Strife.
They
Somewhere
treat them
in
bad too.
the 25th millennium. Kind of. They served as the military and labor force under humanity's last united interstellar government, which existed before the birth of the Imperium of Man several thousand years later in M30.
Bunch
So
of wusses, dude. Yeah, somebody's got to do it.
there was a huge fall. There was a huge fall. There used to be an interstellar spanning government that fell to ruin before the Imperium rose. So they were developed as an expression of an earlier AI construct known as the Men of Stone, who may also have been or who may also be closer to cyborgs or full conversion Borgs. So these may not have actually, the Men of Stone may not have actually been AI. They may have been humans who had been so bionically enhanced that they had ceased to be recognizably human.
Like cyberpunk
essentially.
type shit.
Like, yeah, like we think we have a tendency.
Chromed out fools.
Yes, chromed instead of what the Mechanicus does, where it's like rusty crab pieces.
Basically look like Cylons.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. They much predate the current development of servitors or the present biomechanical conception of robots as used by the Legio Cybernetica. Eventually, the Men of Iron turned on the human masters, believing themselves superior to humans. It's the very, very classic AI rising story that's really prevalent ever since Metropolis came out in the 1920s. It took a galactic alliance of humans and other species to wipe out the Men of Iron in a terrible war that was fought in the late 23rd millennium, known as the Cybernetic Revolt. This conflict extinguished countless lives and destroyed the ancient human-settled galaxy's economical and political unity. During this, both sides unleashed fearsome weapons of highly advanced technology. These included the Mechanivores, which were massive thinking machines capable of lifting entire continents and ripping open massive chasms on planets, revealing their core. The Mechanivores could even absorb space-time itself as a form of data. Among the other terrible weapons of mass destruction unleashed at the time were the serpentine machines called the Sun Snuffers that uncoiled into great structures in the void larger than the exterior dimensions of the rings of Saturn, and were designed to devour the star itself. Then there were the omniphages, swarms of intelligent microscopic nanomachines that would consume everything across the surface of a world in a matter of solar hours, which, by the way, would generate a ridiculous amount of heat. This conflict laid the foundation for the later collapse caused by the onset of the Age of Strife. Since that time, people swore to never again create a form of artificial general intelligence. This is a prohibition which has survived well into M42. As we have all mentioned on the podcast, though, machine spirits are basically AI. They're just different somehow, and we're not sure how. But I think it's
like
just they just changed the name. They're not calling them Men of Iron. They're calling them machine. It's different. It's totally different. They're not AI. They're just totally different.
You ever think about it? Like maybe it's what do they call that shit? Magic, but magic in the technological sense. It's
Yeah, like
the fuck is it called?
Techno magic.
Techno. Yeah, thank you.
Techno magic.
that's the term I was.
Technomancy.
It's like
Technomancy.
technological but magic. Yeah, technomancy or yeah, that.
So instead of it's basically you could, if you call something artificially intelligent, you're saying I've artificially created intelligence in this thing. We understand what intelligence is. If you say something has a machine spirit, you're saying, oh, I artificially gave this a soul. And you're having that, and that's the core to a lot of the arguments that happen in the Warhammer 40k universe is, the religion is good, secularism is bad, which is weird because the emperor wanted the opposite. But essentially, that's what's happened. So their way of getting around having recreated artificial intelligence is saying, no, they're spirits. The machine has a spirit, guys.
You guys remember, I think it was the second Men in Black, where there's that guy in the copy machine.
Oh, yeah. The dude inside the copy machine.
Yeah.
No, it was the mail sorting.
He's the mail
machine.
sorting machine.
Yeah.
And he's got,
mail
8
sorting.
arms, and he's like,
Yeah, they open it up and he's like fucking, he's like smoking and working at the same time.
Right.
And
And he's got he's like holding one of his hands as a cup of coffee in it.
He's like, what the fuck? When they open the door. Oh, it was great.
So
That's what the machine spirit looks like, by the way. Just letting you all know.
It's just a dude with a bunch of arms and a. Got it.
Yeah, inside your bolter, you know.
Well, what they really say that it is AI has perpetual learning possibilities, and machine spirits do not. Machine spirits can't grow.
right.
You know what I mean? Like
But-
AI can.
But we know that that's not true, and the reason that we know
No,
that's
I know.
not true,
That's just what they say. You know.
yeah, that's their excuse. Yeah, I got you.
But
Yeah,
they are coming out with Men of Iron stuff. It's just under Zotan or Votan now. Zotan.
Yeah,
No,
so,
it's not
Zohan. It's just Zohan now.
yeah, they're
They're iron kin. It's different.
yeah, they're different. So the only official model is Imperial Robot UR-025 from Blackstone Fortress, and he actually disguised himself as a specific type of Legio Cybernetica machine, just an older form, basically. But he is the only one that we know of currently. Men of Iron could be done hundreds of ways. I don't actually, to tell you the truth, I don't know how I would. This is the one that's got me stumped. I think that Men of Iron probably need, like, if we're gonna flesh out the way that this is a deeper dive one. I think all of these are a deeper dive one. Like we could get really deep into these, but this would be one that I would think on. I'm not sure what I would do.
As far as like trying to develop an army on the tabletop,
Yeah, like how you would do it.
You have to go Leagues of Votan. You'd have to use their like little AI thing and like smash it with something.
No,
else.
I mean like
He's saying
I mean,
make a new faction.
yeah, we're talking about making it not kit bashing, but
I
like,
don't think
actually,
there's
like,
enough
designing
Men of
out.
Iron to do a whole faction. I think it'd be interesting to have a Men of Iron like inquisitorial agent or something, you know?
Yeah,
Well, you
I
just have
think-
more freedom, I think, at that point.
I think
just
you
have-
could do it because you could very much, you could go back to like either the idea of old Necrons or the idea of old, because that's what it is. They're Terminators, essentially. It's an army of Terminators.
I was gonna say, just get mech warrior models, and you can use that
Fuck
as like an
yeah.
example of different types of units to have within
Fuck
your.
that! You just
Men of Iron
you
army.
make them a crimson to AdMech. You basically every big unit that AdMech has, you have a model that's just altered a little bit to be the like Iron Men of Iron
Version.
version, which is
there-
what the AdMech copied. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's how I do it. I'd make them as literally
Yeah, that
like
works.
a bad instead of Dark Mech, you just make Men of Iron.
Right.
So you have AdMech for good, and for the Imperium, and then you have the Men of Iron as like the Xenos, and it's literally just the counterpart to the AdMech.
Is there art for technology from the Golden Age?
No, but it's kind of loosely assumed in a lot of ways that it would be more what we. It's less the diesel punk World War II punk aesthetic that is dripping all over Warhammer 40k, and it's more the like 90s 2000s image X-Men comic pop art. I think would actually be the way to do Men of Iron. You would do the like how Cyclops looks, where he's got or the Winter Soldier's arm looks, where there's a bunch of segments that are just chromed.
yeah.
That's the way I think you would like if you really wanted to do
Or
it.
like what do you call them? The Sentinels from X-Men.
X-Men.
yeah, the new
No,
X-Men
fuck,
movies.
Fuck that! The Sentinels from fucking Matrix.
Oh,
Oh
fuck
yeah, that'd
that.
be cool too.
Yeah, dude.
Oh god, dude, those things nightmare.
Yeah,
Fucking
them
inducing.
squid boys.
Yeah, it's like that one that would go inside your belly button,
Mhm.
the mini one.
Yeah.
Oh, that
Or
thing
like-
fucking terrifies me.
Oh, I know, right? I was like, oh, that.
Or like even
that-
drop into like riffs style.
Ah. very like Gundam.
Well, I like that. I don't even know how to bring it at like 80s American, 80s 90s American pop,
like real steel.
Yeah, kind of.
No, the fucking robot from Dread.
Oh yeah, that's like real steel. Yeah. Dude. I fucking love that robot, dude.
I know you do. The one that looks like it even has like
all fucking dumb.
It even has a crooked mouth like Sylvester Stallone. They're all giving a fucked up lip. It's all boo. That's literally what they did.
Dude, it looked terrifying though. It looked like it fuck you up.
They're like, make Sylvester Stallone a fucking robot. That's what they did.
He's just mean mugging with his fucking.
He just got crooked ass mouth,
hanging ass lip.
But yeah, I think I would go more this style, this art style. I don't even know how to describe it. How would you guys describe this art style? To me, it's the late 1980s,
almost like Robotech.
Yeah.
I'd
call that late 80s ink.
Yeah, late 80s, early 90s. Yeah,
ink pen mecha.
Americanized mecha, essentially.
Yeah.
Type in ABC Warrior.
That's right. That's what he was.
That's what it's fucking called, dude. Like first fucking pick, like second row picture. Oh god, ABC Warriors like Dread.
Yeah, which picture am I looking for?
It's not showing up on that one. That's weird.
You type in Dread?
Well, I typed in Dread Robot, and then I clicked the ABC Warriors tab.
This guy right here?
Yeah, very much like that, yeah. Hold on, I'll just... this fucking... Shit.
Oh, God.
Hold on. Here, I'll post it. You gotta see this fucking picture, dude. It's so stupid.
I guess a lot of it would be...
It's like instantly what Mark was like laughing at. Like, it's just a link. It's fucking... crooked ass mouth, dude.
Oh, yeah, this fucking thing.
That's... Like, kid be looking at his little lip. So dumb.
But it's so terrifying too, man. Like if I saw that thing in the middle of the night, I'd shit myself.
Right.
I just love that they were like, make it with a fucked up mouth.
But yeah, I guess a lot of it would be that like almost more of a StarCraft like sleeker line, like Space Marine armor and Space Marine and Mechanicus robots, but more like with StarCraft's art style rather than so you're going super. I would go super sci-fi with Men of Iron rather than like end of
try and keep
like
it grim dark. Yeah. So are you thinking like Protoss or Terran type technology looking?
Well, you know how like the Space Marines in StarCraft obviously look a lot like the Space Marines in Warhammer, but they're a little different.
Yeah,
that's what I like. That little bit of difference between.
Oh, so the sleekness.
It's just a little sleeker. I would make the Men of Iron a little sleeker, essentially.
Okay, I see what you're saying. More
like, again,
so it'd be a more modernized look versus like the grim dark, almost. I don't want to say medieval look to 40k, but
it's got like a World War II, like Diesel / World War II punk look.
Yeah,
is very much everything's got a patina of dirt on it.
Because grimdark would be more like the art style, not so much the style of like the armor and.
Yeah,
because you can make anything grimdark.
Exactly,
The I see what you're saying. The Baroque armor.
Oh,
the Baroque power armor.
Baroque is the Gothic style, yeah.
Yeah.
Those two halflings you have right there, I swapped their heads with snotlings, and I turned them into my commando snotlings.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty legit.
I would say you make Men of Iron atomic punk.
Atomic punk?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Atomic
a little
punk.
bit more style. Like like polished Fallout rather than.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
1960s, 1970s less
view of 2000.
yeah, less 1920s view of the
Like
1920s.
Atomic
Rock
Punk, is that like
knows.
Voltron?
Kind of.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
little bit.
It's more like Fallout.
I'm trying to think of an example.
Atomic
Big
Punk
O.
is like the old Coca-Cola. Oh, Big O.
Big
That,
okay,
that's
Big
gonna
O.
be your
Big O.
closest.
Gotcha.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very much like if you think of like the Hot Rods or like the Iron Giant.
Yeah, that's the other one. That's
You remember
because
like
that's also kind of Big O-y.
Okay, yeah.
Remember Iron Giant is very Atomic Punk. Like,
Gotcha.
It's Diesel Punk, but the next step. So
Yeah,
like
it's
Diesel Punk
basically-
in space.
If you could imagine Diesel Punk but with smooth edges instead of squared,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like Jetson status.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, Jetsons. But not quite
Like
so future.
what do you call it? God, I can't believe I'm blanking on the movies. The from Mars,
Lost in Space.
Invader,
Mars Attacks.
Mars
Mars
Attacks.
Attacks. Thank you. Mars Attacks.
Yes.
Nah,
yes.
nah,
Like you know the big. Remember the big giant robot where it had like the claws?
My knack wrote Mark.
Knock, black, knock.
Knock.
Oh, we come
Oh
in
fuck,
peace.
those are too good. I'm sorry. Oh god, that was
Remember the like big giant robot where the dude was like driving it and had
Yeah.
Yeah.
claws?
great. Yeah, that's
Like,
exactly what I
dude,
was
that's
thinking.
Men of Iron to me.
Oh,
man.
Dude, that would be
the
fucking hilarious.
robot in the old school
Lost in Space.
Lost in Space. Danger,
Yep.
danger.
Yeah, that's
Danger
Men of
Will
Iron.
Robinson.
to
See,
me.
that still feels too mechanic-y to me.
It's definitely
You think so?
more mechanic
Yeah.
but it's a good imagery
But that-
point to start from.
But that's only because of their little what do you call it, unit. And that's like, and that unit stands apart from like all of the other units in
It's still-
Mechanicus.
It still
Yeah.
feels. It's
What are they
still
called?
kind of
Automatons or fucking
Castellans.
Castellans, yeah.
It still feels very like aesthetically. That is much more towards what they were going in my mind. I mean, like honestly, I would think that Men of Iron stuff would look more cyber, like the chrome body replacements and like cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Like, you've completely like Iron Man. Like fucking Iron Man suit in any of the Iron Man
'Cause,
movies,
well,
where it's got all those control surfaces, and you can like, or like what's Rhodey's character, War Machine, where you can like you could take the Iron Man suit and just bolt a
Iron-
bunch of heavy fucking weapons to the outside of
Iron
it.
Patriot. No,
That's
I'm just kidding. It
Isn't
is the
that-
same character. Dave.
He's
Oh,
all
is it?
that's.
like what the fuck, man.
Actually,
I thought it was War Machine, but anyway,
it is
Um,
War Machine. But I was just fucking around because it's Iron Patriot. Also, he eventually turns into Iron Patriot.
I got you. But I would.
See,
That's more what I think. I think that like Terminator 2, like all of my skin has been ripped. The T-8000 with no skin, but between there and
okay.
the Iron
Well,
Man
like,
suit is where I think.
yeah, you're talking about like the classic Men of Iron. Like here, hold on, I'll here like this on Art Dump. That's what you're thinking of, like the classic Men of Iron when it comes to like 40k. Like
Yeah.
that's the original Men of Iron. Like the ones in the pictures where they have like the gas coming out of their teeth.
Oh,
You know,
oh god, yeah. I could picture that being really fucking freaky. I'm not gonna lie.
here's I think the actual 40k art clip.
They actually have an art clip of Men of Iron for 40k.
Well,
somewhere, yeah.
because they've got an official Men of Iron. Again, there's a model you can buy right now. He's in Blackstone.
The Blackstone Fortress. That guy's considered a Men of Iron.
Yeah, this dude's a Men Iron.
Oh no shit.
Yep.
This is the art that like everybody references when they talk about Men of Iron.
That's the one from Blackstone Fortress that's in an old Mechanicus machine, which
Yeah.
I believe,
Oh.
which I also believe was a Men of Iron at one point as well.
Oh, get the fuck out! Really?
Yeah.
But that creepy
Yeah.
ass one, that's like that is what they describe as the corrupted Men of Iron from Gaunt's Ghosts.
Yep.
Get the fuck out!
So the STC that makes Men of Iron gets corrupted in one of the early Gaunt's Ghost books, and it prints
Yeah.
out one more
In the
guy,
first.
and
in the
that's
first
what
one.
it looks like. Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, so Imperial Robot UR-025 is a man of iron inside of a looted
Imperial robot.
suit. He disguised
Gotcha.
himself.
Yeah, see, like, so when the traditional Men of Iron are more, I think of what those guys are, the ones that I had posted, where they're like the skeleton face.
Yeah, very much like Iron Giant, like you were saying. Like skeletal Iron Giant, but with the Terminator mixed into it.
Yeah.
So
So
that's
that-
fucking terrifying, dude. That thing was scary looking.
The Imperial Robot UR-025 suit predates the Imperium itself to a time when mankind first perfected artificial intelligence. Having assumed the guise of an autonomous agent of the Omnissiah, UR-025 seeks the Blackstone Fortress's forbidden technologies. It's implied that he's done enough changes that they think he's just another automaton of the machine god, but that suit is close-ish to what they would have looked like. Not corrupted, of course.
Even then, dude, that thing, like, it looks fucking terrifying.
It'd be an interesting army.
Like with the
Anyway.
smoke coming out of its mouth.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Like, I imagine it walking like that, almost like that still motion capture kind of.
Oh,
movement.
yeah. And that's actually
what I
how,
mean?
how it's described in Gaunt's Ghost, that it's like
Yeah, they
Is
just
it
like
really?
jitter and
walking,
shudder
like,
moving
yeah.
forward.
It's like creepy like that. And its arm,
Oh.
like you see how it's got a hook for a hand?
Right, yeah.
It unfolds like a whole bunch of times. And
It's like a fucking mantis blade.
Yeah. But it unfolds like 6 or 7 times in the
Oh my
scene.
God, dude.
Yeah, like he sees it and he can tell that it's gonna like expand, and then it shoots out like 3 times farther than he thought it was gonna.
Yeah.
Like,
Holy shit!
and
So
it
it's
just
like a
wrecks
lance.
one of the dudes. Yeah,
Dude, that's so gnarly. God, that's gonna give me fucking nightmares.
yeah. So like
Alright, I'll
you'd
leave
see
it up
it
a
and you're
little
like,
longer.
oh, that's got like a like a 3 to 5 foot range, and it like reaches out 8 feet and slaps somebody. You
So
know?
it's like the T-1000 in the sense where it's not that, but it is.
But
that, where you
yeah.
can't tell. The
you can't
danger.
tell what it is because it's corrupted by chaos and it's ancient tech as well. So it's just like doing all kinds of nonsense.
That's so crazy. Fuck.
Yeah.
All right, Kev. So the next quote is Kev again. I highlighted it in green. This should probably be Russian.
You think Sergei?
Your block. Yeah. So the next up are the Ratlings, and Kev's got a little anonymous Imperial Guardsman quote for us.
Little thieves. Thieves and vagabonds, a lot of them. They are petty-minded. Larcenous little subhuman scum to last. Everyone overlooks it because they can shoot straight and can cook a decent meal. You can't trust them, any of them. They steal your chrono if you shake hands with them, and likely to pick your pocket as praise the Emperor's name.
There you go. All right. So the Ratlings, or Homo sapiens minimus, are members of a small, loud, hungry, and lecherous abhuman species. They have been granted full imperial citizenship despite their mutant status and have often served in regiments of the Astra Militarum as members of the Militarum Auxilia. They are still distrusted by the more puritanical members of the Inquisition. Less resilient than baseline humans, Ratlings are naturally excellent shots. A Ratling's marksman can take the head of a heretic from over a kilometer away. Coupled with their knack for staying out of harm's way, this makes Ratlings formidable snipers who can exact a withering toll upon superior enemy forces. However, they face prejudice from baseline human troops they serve alongside, even as their skill as thieves, fences, and black marketeers tends to win them acceptance in the end. A guardsman who gives the Ratlings too much grief will often find themselves mysteriously short of ammunition in the heat of battle. Ratlings have proven invaluable to the Imperium's armies time and again as exceptional forward scouts that are able to move covertly into firing positions right under the noses of enemy army. They announce their presence with hails of precise shots that catch the enemy completely off guard. The effectiveness of Ratling fire can often mislead the enemy into believing that they are facing an entire platoon of Imperial Guardsmen, turning large-scale assaults towards the snipers. They have also perfected the art of hastily changing their positions after firing, scurrying away before securing new vantage points from which to assassinate more of their assailants. Seen as having a devious, duplicitous, and morally dubious nature, they possess such unique talents that they often find a place in the armies of the Imperium. Whether killing off enemy officers or procuring black market Amasek for their own regiments. So the models that exist are the the Rattling Sniper Kit, and then Rain and Rouse, the Rattling Twins from Blackstone Fortress.
I wants is them.
Yeah, honestly, just in these two different units, I think we already see a wide range. You know, the sniper unit is obviously snipers, and then the twins, you've got a little bit more of like a carbiner guy. He's just got kind of a longer rifle. He doesn't necessarily look like he's a sniper. And then the other guy's got like kit for doing scouting stuff. Yeah. I could definitely see Rattlings being made into a light infantry army, a light infantry Imperial Guard force.
I think it could be kind of like how they have Scions, where they get like 3 units and they're kind of like their own separate thing, but not like not its own
entire
full
force.
Because really, what it would be is there should be like a rattling demo team.
Yep.
And the sniper team, and really that's about it.
I think you should have a forward scouting team, like a team that specifically can deploy super far forward, and maybe has like an extended Vox bubble, or no. How would I do a scouting team? So if they're within,
has deep strike.
Right. But I think the scout team would operate differently. So a Rattling scout team would be, if they're within a certain number of inches of an enemy unit, it gives it gives everything that has like long range indirect fire a bonus.
There is so it would be included in with since the new codex has something for that, plus 1 to hit with indirect fire for things with Vox casters or sentinels. So if you included that unit in that perk as well, that would work.
But they were like, but they can fight too. You know, they're not just there.
Yeah, they're not just for that. But
and then sappers and then snipers.
I would say they'd almost be almost the very similar to the Phobos units of Space Marines. So like Space Marines have like their like a denial unit, like a deep strike denial unit. They have like a terror unit. They have all of them are obviously forward deploy, but you have your sniper unit. You have your with camo cloaks. I'm assuming they have camo cloaks. I don't know if that's actually a thing for
the guard. Have camo cloaks.
There's no stat for it in game currently though.
But yeah, they've got lore for camo cloaks. I would still keep the Rattlings as part of the guard. I would just like to see their use expanded.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, same.
I could even see them as interesting, like you get like a Rattling tank commander. You get like a tank that's like outfitted with some like crazy experimental rail rifle.
Well, they have like recon vehicles, right?
Right. Yeah, that'd be cool. Or
like them on an ATV.
Them on ATVs would be cool.
ATVs really and bikes on jackals, essentially on jackals and wolves.
They have little mini bikes.
Yep.
Jackals,
mini bike sniper gang.
Oh, dude,
Atlands. That'd be cool. All right, so next up are the Urgul field report from Sergeant Gerlaf Silerin of the Desolate Oathsworn 433rd. So this is another guardsman unit. Kev, you want to?
I could do a Scotsman guardsman.
You haven't done one yet. There you
I
go.
haven't done a Scots guardsman yet. Tom's over here like, I'll just take my headphones off.
I'm just asleep while I'm awake. It's fine.
Right.
Tom, are you sleeping? I'm just resting my eyes.
I'm just dying. It's fine.
All right.
We had our leader for sure. Our ambush was perfect, but even as our sniper was lining up the shot, that thing let up an awful howl and raced towards us. Maybe it heard us. Maybe it smelled us. It doesn't matter now. It was on us before we could react. The leader didn't even bother to follow it, just sat back and laughed as it tore us apart.
Field report from Sergeant Gerlaf Slurrenry. Slurrenly. Slurly.
It's slurred.
Slurren of the Desolum Oathsworn 433rd. So the Urgul are lanky, carnivorous, humanoid xenos that are super... I'm not going to pronounce... Fuck that word. The Urgul are lanky, carnivorous, humanoid xenos that are incredibly good at tracking and hunting.
Superlative.
They're... Yeah, but it's like I know what it means and I know how to say it, but it's one of those ones where like immediately people are going to be like, what the fuck does that mean? Because you don't use it that much. Yeah. They're superb trackers and hunters.
Yeah.
Native to the labyrinthine ziggurats of the Drakari city of Shaddam, a satellite realm of the dark city of Cremora in the Webway, their savage nature makes them popular additions to the court of many Dark Eldar archons. They are considered the most hideous creatures that will respond to an archon's call, and they are usually unleashed to hunt down and slay one of the archon's foes or perhaps allies. Their migrations are targeted and purged by members of the Ordos Xenos Deathwatch before they can become a danger to Imperial worlds. Among the most famous of these encounters was the Death Watch dreadnought Xenomortis, who led an Urgul migration purge of his brethren within the Mirror Palace on the world of Pelentina. He killed all of the carnivorous aliens himself over the course of many solar months, following the death of the rest of his kill team at their hands. They are also present in the Khornos Expanse, adjacent to the Calixis sector, where they operate in conjunction with the Dark Eldar who have taken up residence in the frontier region. The models that exist are the Urgul Finecast that you used to be able to buy in the Drakari line, and the Urgul that come in the Blackstone Fortress. So I believe the Finecast kit is a kit of 5, and the Urgul in the Blackstone Fortress, I believe, is only 2, but it might be 4. These guys look dope. They don't have eyes. They've got 4 nostrils and then really big ears and then like creepy mouths. Yes. They are gene stealers. They're just another gene stealer, essentially. They're a big melee unit.
So I'm seeing them from pretty far away right now. Probably like a good 10 feet. They all look like a bunch of football players.
Oh, they're like bats. They're like bat people.
They're like bat people, yeah. And that's exactly what I would do with them. I think this would be like the Ratlings. This would be a expand the line, but don't make a full army. So let's get some ones that have big wings and not like coming out of their back, like they've got webbing between their arms and their bodies.
Like man bat.
With bigger claws on their hands or something. And then maybe like a really big one, like a rampager that's just like covered in spikes. And that's it. And you can take them, I would say you could take them with Drakari. You could take them with any other bad, I think there's a big argument for like mercenary aliens, like just aliens that anyone who doesn't have the keyword Imperium can take, essentially. Like even down to the Dark Mechanicus can.
The Imperium.
Yeah, not these guys.
Definitely not these, but Kroot and Votan for sure.
Yeah. But again, like I would see, like the Kroot would be able to take these guys, the Drakari would be able to take these guys, the Eldar would be able to take. You just play around with it. Or Chaos Space Marines running a bunch of these things. I just think it'd be cool. I really feel like there should be a undead army for Warhammer 40k. And I know that a lot of people would be like Poxwalkers and Necron, but like a biological undead army. Like an actual undead army. The Necrons are essentially robots and Poxwalkers are... Right, I know, but everybody always says that, and I'm like, no, I mean, like, there should be space vampire counts.
Oh, well, that's, you have Blood Angels.
Just play Space Marines.
Blood Angels can take these guys, just any race that isn't with the Imperium keyword.
Just play Space Marines, but be edgy about it.
All right, so next up we got Zotes.
Yeah. My new favorite.
Zotes are an ancient reptilian and centauroid.
Yeah, centauroid.
All right. Centauroid alien species that was enslaved or specifically engineered as a bioconstruct by the Tyranids and incorporated into the multitudes of subservient bioforms that serve the hive mind. At one time, they acted as Tyranid diplomats, as they were more capable of intelligent thought, logic, linguistics, and diplomacy over other, more animalistic Tyranid bioforms. The hive mind used them to scout out new species and determine how useful their incorporation into the Tyranid genome would be for the Tyranids' never-ending quest to further their own evolution. However, some Zotes were able to escape their psychic influence of the hive mind to pursue their own independent agendas, giving them another edge over other non-sentient Tyranid bioforms. Eventually, Zotes ceased to be useful to the hive mind, and the species was eventually no longer created within the Tyranid fleet by the late 41st millennium, vanishing from Imperial records for generations. They have recently been seen more in the Era Indominus aboard the 7th Black Fortress, apparently free of the hive mind's control and pursuing their own interests. While they have been observed in groups on a handful of occasions, most sightings concern single nomadic individuals, and there is no evidence that the Zotes have a homeworld or a population center that might exist. While their full plans are either too far afield or mysterious, a common thread that seems to link all of their behavior is the recurrent interest in obtaining rare technological artifacts. Zotes have a couple of models currently. In 2nd edition, there was a set of 3 Zotes in metal, and there is now a plastic Zote that is part of Blackstone Fortress.
And there is actually a Zote for Blood Bowl.
Yes, the 3 models.
Mm-hmm.
Although I did leave out Beastmen. I left out fantasy stuff in general.
Yeah,
there's a lot of Beastmen.
I just think that that's the thing.
Race.
Yeah, I just think that the Zote one is particular to mention just because there are no other.
Yeah, that's it. That's 3 of them right there.
Yeah, that's all there is.
So Zotes, I think, could definitely be 100% linked into their own race. In fact, we just talked about the Urgul. If you were to have like a Xenos threat book, I don't know what you'd call it, but the Codex Xenos threat, I would say the core of your army is going to be Zote units, and then all of the like crazy extra stuff you can take are going to be things like the Urgul. You're going to get all of these crazy like monstrous alien races that have been a problem for the Imperium that the Zotes are just controlling.
They would be like the prophets in the Covenant almost.
Yeah.
I would
I
say.
mean, but that's the thing though. It's like Zolts
are
are
politicians of the
which is crazy because they're huge.
Yeah,
they're very big.
Like a Zote is a big motherfucker. Like it's basically a brontosaurus. Like,
but yeah, you could have like a Zote. You know, maybe the elites in the Zote army could be like Ambles.
Yeah, that's
you know
what I'm saying. Like
that's what
it
you
would
play
be
with.
a really cool idea for 40k to have like a Xenos army that is like the Covenant.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the
100%.
Tau is kind of that, but
that's what I would. That's
really,
what.
Right?
I wish they could do all of that and just have them fight for the Tau. You know what I mean? Like, in theory, that's what it should be like. If you were to go off like lore status, you know.
But there's already not so much. There's already enough like filler in the Tau, or not filler. There's already enough units of just Tau. Like you already have your own dedicated. It would be like the squats are affiliated with the Tau in the sense that they can work together. The Covenant, quote unquote, of 40k would be kind of similar to that, right? So it wouldn't be like just more auxiliary for Tau because that's. Look at the Kroot, look at the Vespid, look at the humans that work with Tau.
Well,
they're just auxiliary.
I look at it as like that would be the army, and the Tau would be the auxiliary. If you were to make this like army, right? Like
it'd be hilarious if they look at each other in that way.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Our auxiliary. You're our auxiliary.
Yeah, exactly. Like this Tau unit of like fire warriors is like, oh, we're gonna go help this auxiliary army over here, and they get there and they're literally like, wait a minute, where the fuck are the other Tau? And like all the other groups are just like the group of Zotes is hanging over in the corner, and like the Vespid are sitting on like a tree, and the Kroot are just like new, like, oh, you guys are new, like treat it how like guard regiments work. You know what I mean? Like how Guard have like multiple regiments from different places.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what it looks like, like is you have like a unit of fire warriors and then you have like a unit of fucking squats, like in the,
The Dirty Dozen.
Because Zotes are fucking sick, dude. Like Zotes
It'd be like a
are-
bad company of Xenos. It'd be sick.
Yeah,
Exactly. And that's what I like. Like if there was a codex, if there was a codex minor Xenos or codex Xenos threat, yeah, like Xenos threat codex or whatever, and like you literally have, and that's what I would do is I would put Zotes as your HQ. Zotes would be your HQ. Zotes would be, and obviously they could be mixed in throughout, but then you get to pull from everything. You get to pull from every minor Xenos race that has models. Like you can pull Slith, you can pull Urgul, you can pull Ambles, you can pull Kroot, you can pull, Vespid, or you can use just Zote models. And then Zotes, maybe they're I think they're all on 60 millimeter bases. Maybe it's just like running an army of armigers, essentially. Like you just run 10 Zotes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, right? All these Xenos races, all you do is come up with like a single line for them on like what they do, and then it's like up to you how to utilize that. You could take, like Vespids, like they're all fast attack. Kroot, you have a good arrangement. Zotes are HQ slots. Then
right.
you take the Zotes as like super heavy like a super heavy detachment. Like
imagine how big the fuck off tank would be that a Zote would fit in.
Right, it's basically
Baneblade,
like
light tank.
it's
right.
a fucking, it's the transport Baneblade thing.
Well, or
Just
it's
sitting
just,
in the back of it.
or it's just a bigger Zote that's been like it's a Zote. It's a Zote in power armor with a bunch of weapons strapped to it.
Oh, that would be so sick.
Well, dude, like imagine like a fucking Zote like running in front of like a great like Narlock. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like how sick that would be.
I feel like it would look like an Astraeus almost. The Astraeus like Space Marine battle tank thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that
feel
big
like that's
hover
what-
thing.
Yeah, I feel like that's what a Zote would. So a Zote's battle tank would look like.
Yeah, Zotes are just cool, man. I never really like got a good look at them until Blood Bowl, and then I was like, "Who the hell is Zolcath?" And I was like, "Oh,
Zolcath.
yeah." And it's like his special ability is, "Are you a Zote?"
I've never actually seen one.
Yeah, like you're so dumbfounded by the fact that you're looking at a Zote that it like confuses you.
Is Zolcath the Blood Bowl one, or is that the 40k one?
Yeah, that's the Blood Bowl one.
Oh, okay. Zolcath is the Blood Bowl.
Mhm.
The 40k one is
The
This
gun
dude.
one, yeah. He has like a power claw.
let me see if
Got
I
a
can find it.
bionic
Here it
belly.
is.
Yeah, I haven't figured out what that is.
It's their breathing apparatus.
Yeah, because their
okay.
face is. That's right. Because their mouth is right there.
Yeah, they're pretty dope looking. Well, no, his mouth's there, but he's that's the thing that he like. There's the tube that goes down into the breathing thing.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
without
wait,
his
am I
mask
thinking?
on, without
am I
his
thinking of-
mask on, you're thinking of the thing we created.
Yeah, that's right.
Without his mask on, he's gonna look like this dude.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we've got plenty of other races that we're planning on covering. Just to give you guys a little bit of a taste, we're going to talk about the Slith, the Jokero, Dark Mechanicus, which should be its own faction, Heretic Guard, the Gavesa, Goliaths, also from Necromunda. Goliaths are pretty crazy. I learned some stuff about Goliaths in the last couple of weeks I didn't know. Rogue Traders, the Adaptus Arbites, the Mecha Arachnids, the Nephilim, and several more. That will wrap it up for our coverage of the first episode on expanding playable minor factions. We will be back in a month or two, or maybe 3, with a part 2, where we'll dive into some of the other stuff that I mentioned. Even though our list is pretty expansive, I know that we're leaving things out. So if you have something that you want us to add to that list, or, if there's something that you feel we left out of any of the ones we covered today, please get that information to us and help us expand it. You can get a hold of us several ways. First, reach out to us by email at underthehiveofmadness@gmail.com or jimdarkgaming@gmail.com. You can also join our growing community on Discord. Not only can you talk with us about lore, hobby, and tactics of Warhammer 40k, but you can get involved on topics spanning from everything, including Age of Sigmar to video games, role-playing games, all sorts of stuff. If none of that's your speed, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, or find us at our website, which is underthehivofmadness.com. You can help the podcast grow by liking and reviewing us wherever you get your podcast fix. Our home is Spotify and Anchor, but we are also available through Apple, Google, Stitcher, and many, many more. If you have a favorite podcast service we aren't on yet, please email us, let us know, and I'll take care of it as soon as I can. You can also find us on Patreon at www.patreon.com/underthehivofmadness. All Patreon members get access to a video podcast with minimal editing, so you can see our beautiful faces and hear our amazing blunders. All Patreon levels also get access to our quarterly painting contest, plus we have a lot of other perks at higher levels, so I really encourage you to go and check that out. The Hangnail on Sublevel 999. It's the only place in the Hive that's neutral territory for all Hive gangs, including the ones that carry around rosettes and badges. That's right, I'm looking at you guys over there in the corner. You don't think we know? We know. Ripping through the jugular of injustice, tearing out the spine of the ever-present propaganda machine, we are the serrated fangs of truth. The pioneers of Sonic Mayhem and Rebellion, 665.66 UHMR Chemrat Radio. Reminding all of you chemrats, hive mice, and sump ghoulies to keep those dials fixed right here. Same ratty frequency, same ratty-ass attitude.
Well, as they say, you should never watch a four-armed emperor poop, or you'll lose an eye.
Gotta be the weirdest one, motherfucker.